Eskinder Nega is not a man without flaws, no leader is. However, the attacks against him, the weaponization of media, and the coordinated efforts to undermine him are not rooted in his imperfections, or any mistakes he has made, but in his refusal to compromise on the principles of truth and systemic change. His critics do not hate him because of any unique faults. They hate him because he refuses to take orders from those who believe they alone should dictate the Amhara struggle. These individuals and factions target Eskinder because he will not kneel to their self-serving agendas, because he rejects alliances with morally bankrupt actors such as ADP, and because he demands genuine change rather than symbolic gestures. Some of the most vehement opposition comes from those driven by provincial favoritism. They demand that their region take the helm of the Amhara struggle. These are individuals and groups who fail to see beyond their local politics. This narrow-minded focus makes them ineffective in a world that demands global thinking, and their fixation on petty divisions makes them useless for addressing the broader systemic persecution and genocide of the Amhara people face. Amhara genocide is not localized, neither should be Amhara's pursuit of justice. Adding to the contradictions, these critics often claim that Eskinder has no power, support, or influence. Yet they have spent years organizing smear campaigns and manufacturing outrage against him. If Eskinder were truly irrelevant, why expend so much energy trying to tear him down? The reality is that their campaigns lack substance and fail to stick, because they are built on baseless accusations rather than genuine critique. Media outlets have resorted to blatant lies about Eskinder Nega, and even Fano forces associated with him. These media outlets perpetuate dangerous narratives that compromise the very people fighting to secure the survival of Amharas. These fabrications are calculated attacks designed to vilify Eskinder without a shred of evidence to justify the level of animosity directed toward him. Even organizations within the diaspora have joined this smear campaign, condemning him and absurdly demanding that he remove himself from the struggle. This is particularly galling, coming from individuals who sit comfortably in their Western homes, contributing nothing more than press releases to the Amhara cause. Their entitlement to dictate who participates in the struggle is both laughable and disgraceful. It reveals their detachment from the harsh realities on the ground, and their inability to match Eskinder's commitment. As their smear campaign falters, they resort to absurd tactics, such as blaming Eskinder for the behavior of his supporters on social media. This desperate attempt to hold him accountable for how others engage online highlights the emptiness of their movement. It reveals their lack of substance and their inability to challenge Eskinder's ideas or actions directly. Blaming a leader for the conduct of supporters, something no one can fully control, is yet another example of how pointless and shallow their efforts have become. To those who claim that defending Eskinder amounts to worshipping him, let it be clear, this is not about elevating one man. It is about defending the truth for which he stands. His supporters' defense is not about him as a man, but about protecting the truth and rejecting the normalization of moral corruption and the hijacking of the Amhara struggle for personal and provincial benefits. If defending his principles makes some uncomfortable, they must ask themselves why those ideals threaten them so deeply. Eskinder's critics fear him not because he is more flawed than anyone else, but because his principles threaten the status quo. They cannot tolerate his refusal to compromise with forces complicit in Amhara genocide, or his rejection of superficial leadership changes that fail to address systemic change. Their campaign against him is not about genuine concern for the struggle. It is about silencing a voice they cannot control. In short, Eskinder Nega is not the problem. The problem lies with those who fear the light of truth he shines on corruption, mediocrity, and selfish agendas. History will not remember the voices of those who sought to silence him, but it will remember the truth he fought for. Those who weaponize their platforms against him should reflect on whether they are truly serving the Amhara people or merely serving their own interests.